Okay, I'm just gonna start off this video by saying this is my most anticipated movie of the year. If this movie failed, I would probably just go out into the street and explode. That being said, no pressure, Bryan Singer. Let's see what you got. X-Men Days of Future Past. So X-Men Days of Future Past is the... It is the 7th movie in the X-Men series, and it's the newest one, like in chronological order. Takes place at the it also takes place after First Class. It's a sequel to X-Men First Class. It's also kind of a sequel to the X-Men trilogy and the Wolverine. Basically, the future is run by these Sentinels. They're hunting down the X-Men. The future X-Men are not in the best place right now, so they're gonna send Wolverine back in time in order to alter certain events back in the past in 1973. Events which involve young Magneto and young Charles Xavier from X-Men First Class, in hopes that it'll get them stuck out of the future that they're stuck in, where they're just being hunted and destroyed. And oh my gosh, this movie was awesome. I could easily just geek out and just gush all over this movie, and I really want to, but I'm going to try to keep a cool head here. The cast all around in this entire movie is great. The future cast, the past cast. The future, you have Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. They're doing their Charles and Eric thing in the future. And then in the past, there's Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, young Charles and Eric. You got other people popping in on both sides of the spectrum. You have Nicholas Hoult back as Beast. Jennifer Lawrence is back as Mystique in the past. You also have Shawn Ashmore back in the present as Iceman. Pretty much every X-Men that has ever lived in this universe is in this movie. The story was great because it was able to combine these two universes, and it also went back and fixed some of the problems with X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins. Yeah, you know there's a bunch of like plot continuity issues with those, mainly with those ones and like X-Men First Class, but it explains all of those things and it validates them and it makes them awesome. Okay, X-Men 3 and Origins, still not the best movies, but what I'm saying is it makes the series more cohesive. I also like the direction that this movie took the characters, especially in the past. This movie really is about hope, and just the storyline that they go with for Xavier in the past, just seeing where he's ended up since X-Men First Class, I wasn't really expecting it, but it was a really cool twist. I mean, you just expect, you know, the young Xavier from X-Men First Class really did feel like a young Patrick Stewart. And so yeah, you'd be like, okay, yeah, so at the end of X-Men First Class, spoilers, he ends up in his wheelchair, he founds the school, he's gonna grow bald later, and he'll just morph into older Xavier. But it's not really like that. He hits his lowest low in this movie. This is a whole nother side of Xavier that we've never seen before. It was really cool seeing him in this specific part of his life and, you know, what he's doing and how he can change. Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine in both the past and the present, and I know a lot of people don't really like Wolverine being the main character in all of these movies, but the dude is really, really good at the role. He worked in both the past scenes and the future scenes. In the future scenes, Xavier tells him, he's like, you know, I was a different person back in the past, you have to bear with me here, be patient. So seeing him struggle with that is really funny. He does a good job at it, because somehow Hugh Jackman is also able to sell that, yeah, he's trying to reason with the guy, but at the same time, he has this anger down in him that is just boiling to the surface. And so he really captured all the different sides of Wolverine that we know and love. It was awesome. Another thing that Bryan Singer was really able to do with this movie is that he really added the emotional weight that this franchise needs. I mean, he had it in X-Men 1 and 2, it was there in X-Men First Class, it was there a little bit in X-Men 3, I'll give the movie that. But you really feel that both the past and the future, just things are dire right now. In the future, they're all being hunted that way. In the past, people are just, they're not in the best state in their life right now. There are things in the past that'll parallel things in the future, and he was really able to capture just the stakes of both sides of that timeline. While there are definitely still more scenes in the past, you still got the weight and the emotion and everything that's happening in the future. Overall, X-Men Days of Future Past is probably my favorite movie of the year so far. Bryan Singer is back in his own element doing the franchise that he started. He even got John Ottman to come back and do the score. He's the same guy who did X2. This feels like the X-Men 3 kind of thing, the Bryan Singer X-Men movies anyways. It feels like the X-Men 3 that we should have gotten. This is the tone and the feel and the vibe that I wanted from X-Men 3. I love this movie. I can't think of any problems with this movie at all, so I'm gonna give X-Men Days of Futures Past an A+. Just see the movie because it's good. Alright, so who is your favorite X-Men character? They can be from the comics, TV show, movie, wherever you've seen them. Comment down below with that character. And thanks for watching this video. If you guys like it, then you can click here to see more.